Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 5, Make It Viral Media, Rise and Thrive podcast. Our podcast, we talk to entrepreneurs. We invite entrepreneurs in Tampa Bay area, and then we ask them a lot of questions.
The hard questions.
Hard question, like interrogating them, like how, why, and why. A lot of questions to be asked. And I think this podcast, the major focus that we do this major intention and the main goal is to get more people encouraged and people who want to do business and they need more encouragement. At the same time, sometimes like sharing stories that helps people to learn and how other people came to do business, or what have they been doing and what kind of motivation behind it, right? And at the same time, it doesn't matter that you have to be successful all right away. That's not the main focus. It's about coming into the field, right?
Oh, yeah. My first thought was sometimes it's really hard to be successful at the beginning.
Yes, exactly. So today our guest at episode 5 is Alex Collish.
Hey, everybody. Yep, I'm Alex Collish.
Welcome, Alex.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you, Raj.
You're very welcome. And I'm excited to learn about your story, actually, because I know you about 13 years now, since 2012, actually. 14.
I was going to say, I'm unlucky 13, so yeah, about 14 years.
About 14 years, since 2012, December. I think about 13 to 14, almost 14 years. Anyway, so I think we haven't catch up like a lot after 2017. I think it is kind of my fault, but it's still, now I'm back in the game, back in the community after school, and now we'd like to know about you a little bit. Just introduce yourself. People are gonna find out who you are. Alex Collish, gentlemen and ladies.
Alex Collish, and you're not going to hear that name very often. It's a pretty unique name. So
yeah, you're right. Yes.
So I am a licensed mental health counselor by trade. I have my own private practice where I do therapy. I work with couples. I work with individuals, and that company is about 2 years old now, a little bit less actually. Before that, I had worked at a local treatment center for about 10 years. And before that, I had very few jobs.
Very few. Now I'm thinking, should we start from that few jobs to the businessman, or from the businessman to that level? Where should we start your story?
So let me explain the very few jobs. Let me explain that.
I think that will be better to start with, yeah?
Yeah, so I'm 44 now, and I've had my own business, like I said, for about 2 years, maybe a little less, and I worked at a local substance abuse treatment center for about 10 years, so that puts us to about age 34. And before that, I was working on my master's and going to school. But before that, I was in active addiction. I was in my teens and up until I was 28. I was very distracted by drugs and alcohol, to put it mildly. So I basically was not in the workforce. I wasn't really contributing to the community, to paying taxes, to helping my family, any of that. I was just kind of lost. And it's funny because that, 20s is, and early 30s is when a lot of people are working on kind of guiding their career, figuring out what they're going to do, getting their training, getting internships. And I was not doing
none of those things. So you're not one of those teenagers, but you are another type.
Right.
Like kind of like it completely out of the regular world, and you are living in a world of drugs and alcohol.
But it helped
Mhm.
because ultimately I became a therapist.
Yeah. Okay.
And
So okay.
and I come from a family where many of us have. My mom worked as a nurse for many years. My dad's a psychiatrist. My grandfather was a psychologist. So I come from a family that works and helps people. So I think it has made me. Maybe it was an internship of sorts.
Oh, I think there is something that always like in the past. Sorry.
We'll edit that out.
in the past, I think there's always something in the past that that would wake people up, and also will lead to a different direction than they thought of, right? So my question is, like, in the beginning, when you were a teenager, like maybe 13, 14 years old, did you have any idea that you would be a businessman or you would become a mental therapist or anything like that? What was your career path or the dream job that you was thinking of when you were a child?
Well, maybe a little bit before 13. I was born in 1980, and I'm sure you've heard of MTV.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so in the 80s is when MTV started.
Mhm.
And I wanted to be a rock star. I wanted to be
Okay.
famous. I wanted, all the excitement. I'm not a musician, but I wanted
Yes.
to be a rock star.
Have you played any instruments?
I've tried.
You tried. Didn't work. So rockstar out of the dream.
Out of the way.
Out of the way.
And then so by the time I was like 13, I knew I wanted to like probably do something like a doctor, psychiatrist, something like that was interesting to me.
Okay.
But I didn't have much drive, and I definitely never expected myself to be a businessman. Like I never expected myself to be an entrepreneur. I didn't even. I don't know if I even thought that was an option. My image of a businessman at that point was like some CEO of a corporation that didn't even own the business himself, but like was wearing a suit and was a businessman.
Yes. Okay. You don't like wearing shoots, by the way? I had that question before I started.
So I'm not a huge fan of suits. Sometimes
Okay.
I will wear a complete button-up shirt, but not my favorite.
Okay. I think I like it.
Oh, hey, it looks good on you.
I think I have to.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, let's get back to your story. So in the beginning, you had like kind of a slightly back in the back of your mind, you might want to be kind of something health wise,
Right.
mental or other side.
Right.
Okay. So now, when did you get into the drugs and those distractions? How that happened?
I don't 14, 15, something like that. And
You were introduced to drugs and alcohol.
yeah, and I would even say I seeked them out, right?
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah. And that felt really comfortable. It felt good. I felt like it helped me make sense of the world. It also drastically reduced like ambition. Right. I was in the gifted and honors classes, and
You were.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh.
And
Okay.
in like middle school and high school, and and I think my junior year I was like, this is just too much work, let me just take regular classes.
So you being an honor student, and then all of a sudden you decided, like, you know what, this is too much work. So you want to find like easy path or easy life.
Yeah, and it was like I was just confused, a little mixed up, like, not happy with myself, not happy with the world. So why spend all that effort? And I have a learning disability. I sometimes forget to share that, but I have dyslexia. So I have to put a lot of extra effort into reading, into writing, because my spelling and my speed of my reading has always been an issue.
Okay.
It's something I've learned to compensate, but it takes that much more time. I am so bad with spelling. I'm so glad that we have like dictation and talk to text and all that, because
it helps you a lot
oh
to
my
speed up
gosh.
your work.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, nowadays with AI, you just say
Right.
it. Yeah.
Right.
All right, I mean, actually, that's very good to know in a way, because there are so many people who just have like that kind of things. And I have met some people. They're like, oh no, I have this, I have that, so I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that. But I don't think we should define ourselves or what we are capable of just because what we have, or any things. Maybe we can use it as a gift in a way, to manage our life to a different direction of success. Right? So somehow with those kind of things, you got into, like, you were looking for a more meaning or more different things, and you were kind of fed up in the world too.
Yeah.
So that kind of led you to the drugs and alcohol as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was an escape. It was rebellious. It was, that all that stuff mixed together.
Was it a permanent solution?
It was a what?
Was it a permanent solution?
I thought it was.
You thought exactly. I think it is not a permanent solution, right? So yeah, I think that we all should remember that one. It wasn't, but it seems like it, because you temporarily forgot everything and then just completely out of the world for a while, but ultimately you have to come back again.
Right. It got out of control, and it stayed that way till I was 28. And I went to both of your alma maters, but I went to HCC, and I was there for about, I don't know, 6 years.
Wow, 6 years, okay.
And asked me if I have a diploma from HCC.
You?
No.
So what did you do with these 6 years?
I got a lot of W's, withdrawals, and a lot of F's, and some A's too.
Some A's, okay. Is it like kind of really studied or just like copying?
No, I just like either participated in class or didn't.
Okay, so that's what happened.
Yeah.
But okay, so when did you get your first diploma? Because now you have like 2 masters, as I remember.
One master's. So I have 2 bachelors.
Okay.
So I got sober when I was 28, and so shortly after that, I ended up getting both. Well, a couple of years after that, I ended up getting my both of my bachelors, and part of the reason I got 2 bachelors is because my transcripts looked like I was in active addiction. W's, F's, A's, W's, F's, A's.
Yes.
And so I had finished most of my my credits for my psychology. My bachelor's in psychology, and I looked at my transcripts, and nobody had to tell me. I knew, like, I'm not going to get into grad school. So I was like, all right, well, let me build a track record. I had taken some sociology classes, and in some ways, sociology and psychology are very similar. In some ways, they are total polar opposites, because psychology is about the individual, and sociology, if you try to think about the individual, the professors are like, no, it's about these bigger concepts. And so I ended up getting 2 bachelors, and then starting to work at the treatment center, where before that, because I'm 28, 29, 30, and have basically no job history. Nobody wants to hire me.
Yes.
But because of some of the things I was doing in the community around like helping people with addictions. I was able to get the job at the treatment center. They took a risk on me. They took a chance.
Yeah. So that was a life-changing event.
Yeah, yeah. So they hired me as needed, right? So I didn't even have a schedule. They just were like, hey, we'll call you up, and as we need you, we'll schedule you.
Yeah.
And I did that for a couple months, and then they hired me full time. And then I did that for about a year and a half, and the CEO of the company asked me to interview for my boss's job because he was retiring.
Okay.
Which on paper, it made no sense that Alex at that time, who had no job history, would be capable of supervising 18 employees, a schedule that ran 24/7 because we were a treatment center where we don't close.
Yes.
Christmas, New Year's,
yes.
It doesn't matter, hurricane, whatever.
Yes.
COVID, we don't close.
Yes.
And I was also part of that job was to be on all the committees of the company. So the strategic planning committee, the safety committee, the credentialing committee, the strategic planning where we had all the heads of the departments planning the course of the company.
Yeah.
And at that time, I don't know how much I was participating, like how much I was actually contributing, because I was soaking up everything like a sponge, just trying to learn, like, oh, this is how I think it was like a 50-person, company at that time. This is how a company with 50 people function.
Yes.
These are the things that go on behind the scenes.
You learn that.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you think of, to be sober? Like what made you to turn your life around at 28 and decided to be sober, like find a path of sober, sober life?
Oh man, you're giving me too much credit. Like, what made you? So
I mean, yeah, because some people I know, like they don't want to do that again.
So let me give you just a quick little story, and this will hopefully illustrate it. There had been a couple years where I was trying to get off drugs, and my family was trying to get me off drugs, and most of the time I just wanted to keep using, and I had gone I had been Baker acted, I had gone to treatment for 90 days, I had relapsed, I got kicked out of a sober living house, and I still wanted to use.
Yeah.
Still wanted to use. And I had nowhere to go. I had no money, so I looked up my buddy who had been living in the woods off and on, almost on a little retreat.
Yeah.
But with obviously with substances, right?
Yes.
And I went out there with him, and we did our thing, and I was not getting blotted out to oblivion. I was still like conscious. I was still, I was intoxicated, but I wasn't like, blotted out and in a blackout or any of that. He was. And we're out in the woods, and I'm thinking two lines of thought were running through my head. One line was that this isn't working anymore, that it's never going to be enough.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if I had all the drugs in the world, if I had an ocean of alcohol, if I had a money-making machine, if I had all the women in the world, whatever. It wasn't ever going to be enough.
Yes.
Because the problem wasn't out there, it was in here.
Yes.
And so that was like running through me, right?
So you had that kind of deep thinking.
Yeah. And I'd been exposed to that through treatment and going to 12-step programs and all that stuff, so it wasn't like necessarily an original thought, but it was like true for me at that point in time.
Okay.
Like I could feel it in my bones that like, this is true for me.
Yes.
And then the other line of thought was the end is coming. The end is coming. And I didn't know what the end was.
Yes.
I didn't know if the end was me, attempting suicide, me getting arrested, me getting in recovery and getting better, me getting Baker acted. I didn't know, but the end was coming.
Wow.
And
there are several ends, but you don't know which one.
And I don't want any of them.
Okay. Not even recovery.
Not even recovery.
Ooh, okay.
I don't want any of them, but the end is coming. None of them look attractive.
Gotcha.
But a shift is coming, and I'm along for the ride.
Okay.
And then, long story short, I got around some people after that. Got around some people that were doing the right thing and kicking and screaming. I somehow still got dragged along, and then started changing some patterns, changing people, places, and things, all that stuff, and have maintained that sobriety for 16 years, coming up on 17 years.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a big shift, and it's very interesting, actually. Good story to encourage many people that if they feel they're lost, and they should know that they will figure out, but they have to have some mindset and meeting some good friends.
Right.
I think it helped you.
I couldn't have done it by myself.
Exactly. So you need to have a willingness to be around some good people who can help you. Like, humble yourself, right? And then you will find a shifting mode in where it would shift your whole life to a different direction. And now here you are. I think that what brought that's what caused like our meeting as well. You came to meditate with us.
Right, absolutely. That's part of how we met.
Yes.
Hanging out with people, doing things that maybe at the time I didn't want to do because they were living a good life, and I wasn't used to that. But it rubs off.
Perfect. So, but back then you did not have any idea of becoming a businessman or entrepreneur.
No, come on, no.
So now
I had so little self-confidence, so little hope for myself that was for somebody else. That wasn't for me. Yeah.
I think a lot of people kind of have that internal kind of a demon type of thought, like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I don't think I am that, right? So you somehow overcame that kind of a mindset, and now you are a businessman. You're not like, okay, not only one, you're always starting the second, third, and adding more.
And I just want to go back for a second, because also, if at that time I had tried to get into business, it would have I would have gone about it all wrong.
Yeah.
Any failure, I would have used as evidence that the world's not fair, or I made the wrong decision, and I probably also would have gotten caught in something, whether it's like people, as a business person, there are people always trying to sell you stuff that does in services that it doesn't even why it's just a money drain, right? Or scams with licensing your company with the state, and something you can do for free, and they want to charge you $500. I would have gotten caught in some mess because I had no center. I had no compass, no twisted morals, twisted ethics. I would have gotten distracted.
Yeah, I see. I know what you mean, because even there are people who would charge you, hey, listen, we will get your business started, your LLC. They charge just to get your service
right
stuff, and they would charge $400, which you could do for $125.
Right.
And it's registration, and then get your EIN number. And there are agencies who want to do that and charge you. Yes, I think that's the kind of a scam. But anyway, so now you overcame all that, and then you changed your life, and you ended up working with that treatment center, which helped you a lot to shape your life as well, right? So during that time, you you decided to complete your the education as well.
Right. So I had finished my bachelor's right around the time I got hired,
Mm-hmm.
and I took some time off.
Mm-hmm.
I got in that management position,
Uh-huh.
and it was a amazing, scary, but amazing opportunity. Very high pressure. Lots of personal and professional development. But I knew I didn't want to do that forever.
Yeah.
I knew it would burn me out. I knew it was just too high stress. It was a stepping stone. But if I had to work there till I retired,
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't have been a good thing, right?
Yes.
And I kind of saw, at least for the world that I wanted to work in, I needed to go back and get a master's.
Okay.
And so I, kind of, again, kicking and screaming, but with some supportive mentors and seeing what other people did, like took the exam, the GRE, and started filling out the applications.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I went and did the interview for grad school, they didn't pull out my transcripts and go, explain this explain this semester, explain that.
Yeah.
I don't even think they asked me about it. I wrote about it in my letter of recommendation,
Yes.
and taught, or my letter statement of intent or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I had, by that time, a track record of being a decent human in society.
Yeah.
I had good grades at the end of my bachelor's. I had a job in the field, and I had amazing people write, letters of recommendation.
Wow.
And I got in.
So that means, that even though you made wrong choice in the past, even though you did wrong thing, you still have a chance to change and make everything better for yourself, even here in America.
Right.
Because so many people, they think they can't do it.
Right.
How many people know once you got a dark dot on you, it's done in America. You're done. You don't have a second chances. I don't believe that.
Right.
Because you are a big example. You change it.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you are a mental therapist, and you are a dad. Good husband, businessman. So you change, right?
Right.
So, and I remember your wedding too, like in about 10 years ago, I guess, it's about 2017.
Yeah, you got a good memory.
Yeah. To be honest, I just recently saw videos that I took. I was going through my memory. I'm like, I saw videos and you two dancing in the wedding that I took. And it was 2017. And so tell me about that. After that, you got into the, marriage life.
Yep.
And how does that treat you? How is it going? How is it working on? Now you're a dad too.
So I'm a dad now. We have a little Zoe, and she is coming up on 7 months. And, so that has been a big change. My wife, Allison, she is a registered nurse, and she's working full time, and I hope this doesn't get aired before next week, but she's going to be putting in her 2 weeks to leave that job so that she can focus on Zoe, and also start doing some of her own business things, or maybe doing a little bit more with some of our current businesses. But it's such a scary thing for me sometimes, but it's very exciting.
Perfect. So, but it changed your life also in a good way, and now you have a family.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So, scary was like having a baby was scary, or the marriage was scary?
All
everything. To be honest, I am too. What do you think? I'm not married yet.
So it took me both having the idea of having a child and also like getting married were things that I don't think it's an overstatement to say that I struggled with them, right? But just like in business and my personal life, I have to I have to relook at things because I don't always know what I think I know. And then also over a lifetime, things change.
Yes.
What I want at one point is not necessarily what I want later on.
Yes.
Right? And business, what is a successful month at one point and is thrilling, later on will be like, oh, it's just another month. Or why didn't we do better?
Yes.
And I'll give you an example of that.
Okay.
So, so as a counselor, I see couples.
Yes.
And when I see couples, my rate right now is anywhere from 200 to 250 for an hour.
Yes.
Right? And I see couples all the time. It's just a normal week.
Yes.
I do a lot of individuals. I do a lot of couples.
Yes.
And that's just like, a normal week, Now last year we started a coffee company.
Yes.
And the first time I sold $180 worth of coffee to one person, I was so excited and over the moon and like, this is like the best thing ever. Cause it wasn't about like the actual dollars.
Yes.
It was just about this new experience, this like, this little baby of an idea that, we've been working on for, almost a year at that point to bring to, from a conversation to an actual product,
Yes.
It's just another way of excitement and fun.
I mean, definitely, you were, thinking about it, coffee and testing it, and then it ended up becoming a kind of it was a hobby, I guess, right?
Oh yeah,
In the
it was a
beginning?
big hobby for a number of years.
Yes.
And
then turned to be business.
Yeah.
Yes, and then you got for your first sales, and like, oh wow, fantastic! I think that's a really exciting moment. For all like. Whenever we get a first client, it's really exciting, and then next and next. But it takes time, as we know,
right,
to build a business. So now you have family, and also the for mental therapist, working. No, first you're working at a treatment center, and then you decided to go to a business. So how did you like overcame the fear? When you start a business and leaving another one,
right?
Did you left the job and started a therapist, or you kind of simultaneously start a both, like doing both?
So there was definitely a temptation to because I could have worked at the treatment center till I retired and had a good income, 401k, health insurance, paid vacation. All those things, and many people take that route.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I was working, I don't know, like 45 hours a week, and a very pretty intense environment. For in the mental health field, or with therapists, substance abuse treatment has a reputation of being hard work. Okay. So that being said, I had no energy or desire to work in the evenings. I did it a little bit, I had a few clients in the evening, but it was just too much. I couldn't do it. And so I started doing, I knew I was getting closer to making the jump. So, and I like to get help. I like to do research. So I worked with a mental health counselor that had a background in marketing and had kind of a side business of coaching and helping people start their mental health practices.
Okay.
So we did 5 sessions. So so not not a big financial commitment, not a big time commitment, but she helped me kind of learn how to set up an LLC and what Sunbiz is, brainstorm about a name, make some decisions around websites and where do I want to start, and, getting another phone number, because as a mental health counselor, you don't want your personal number out there, just those types of things, right?
Yes.
And I had asked to go part-time, and that wasn't an option because I want, and I'm kind of glad that was an option because I probably would have
do that
for a long time. And so eventually, with the support of my wife, we had to put in a month, so not 2 weeks, but a month. I put in my month, and I knew after that month I had no income coming in, and but that was actually great because I didn't jump from a high work environment into another busy work. I actually jumped in. I left a high work environment, had time to kind of rest and recharge my batteries while I was working on building the company, and all those things. Like I didn't not do anything, but I didn't have any clients.
Yes, definitely. Slowly you kind of emerged to the new road.
Right, and we had saved up a little bit of money to kind of help with that transition.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah, that was a good move.
Yeah.
All right, so, and then you started your mental health counseling. What is the name of that?
Conscious Path Counseling.
So, guys, if you need counselor and therapist, here's Alex. Check him out.
Yeah, at consciouspathcounseling.com.
Yep. Yeah, so he's on LinkedIn and everywhere as well. You can find him.
LinkedIn, Instagram,
TikTok.
You know what? I don't think I have a TikTok for that.
Okay. Yes, I mean you don't need to, unless you give some kind of advice.
Right.
So, and also you said that you're meeting with couples. So basically, you're advising couples how to stay together.
It depends. It depends on their goals. Sometimes they have communication issues. Sometimes there's infidelity. Sometimes there's, an upcoming divorce. Sometimes they're doing well, but just, need, somebody to kind of mediate and talk to. It really depends.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. So couples, who to talk to.
Yep,
you know who to talk to. Alex Qualish, Conscious Path Counseling, guys. And don't forget to buy coffee from him too.
Yeah, Recovery
Beans. That's a second business. Now, let's talk about that one a little bit too. We talked about coffee, but we did not mention.
Set it up.
Yeah, exactly. So, you didn't start coffee business, in the beginning, before you start counseling. You recently started it, as I remember, something around COVID. Tell us about how did you get into it?
Yeah, so we launched Recovery Beans September of last year. September
24.
Yeah. So, but previously, actually during COVID, I got really, I would say, obsessed with coffee and how coffee is produced, and espresso machines and coffee grinders, and then I got into roasting. And to be honest, I was spending thousands of dollars on coffee equipment because it was a hobby. Some people will do golfing and they buy really expensive clubs, or some people have a sports car and I don't know much about cars, but upgrade stuff, and that was kind of my hobby.
Yeah.
And I learned a little bit about business when I started my LLC for Conscious Path Counseling. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I can somehow make my coffee toys a business expense. And that kind of sat in my head for a little while. And then when I was talking to my wife about it, somehow we got into a place, there's a lot of people in recovery and mental health spaces that drink a good amount of coffee, and there's nobody really talking to them, speaking to that community. And then we really started to get a message behind the brand, and and it took about from like January to September to develop our mission, our branding, the logo, the website, I have a roaster at home. That some people actually use to do like small coffee businesses, but I wanted to sell nationally.
Yes.
And to sell a food product that's manufactured in the state, in America, to sell nationally, you can't roast in your garage. You have to have an FDA, like food approved, facility, all that sort of stuff. So I had to learn about, I'm a therapist. I don't know about like food
coffee,
permits.
food, food
I don't know like about packaging, so we had to learn all that. Had to learn about barcodes. We were talking about barcodes the other day.
Shipping, packaging,
shipping, packaging, like expiration dates, labeling. So it. And what I liked about it is totally different than my counseling.
Okay.
My counseling, I am selling a service that is, an hour at a time.
Yes.
And that I have a lot of experience doing therapy, and the coffee, I know a lot about coffee from the hobbyist enthusiast side.
Yes.
And I turn that passion into, okay, well, let's sell a product, but selling a product is drastically different than selling a service.
Yes.
And I'm still learning that.
That's totally different. Even I do service as well, and also I do have e-commerce as well. There are two different paths, but the marketing, the selling a product is totally different. And selling services are kind of a marketing talent skill. It's a very weird kind of a combination when you do have to do both. You need to do both of them,
right?
And sometimes you can find tea lovers or coffee lovers, and then what you have to do is bring your brand up and then tell them, hey, this is a good brand,
right?
This is good coffee. You should try this, and then make them to try, right? And they try it, share it. That's how many products you're going to sell. And service-wise is totally different. Sometimes it might be harder to sell service than products. So
that's funny though. So for me and my service, my counseling business, in some ways, like takes care of itself.
Okay.
Meaning my schedule fills up. And do I do marketing? Do I do outreach and those things? Yeah, but like the clients come, and my hours that I want to book are kind of taken care of, right?
Yes.
And that is the company and the income stream that has enabled me to branch out and do something different.
Yes. And when it comes to your situation, if you have a schedule for the counselors, all right, it's going. But on the other side, since you are the only therapist, you have a hard time with scaling the business up.
Right. Well, and I don't. That's the issue.
Yes.
Right. And that's why I was like, let me try something else that is eventually scalable.
Yeah. So because even you can sell coffee, like millions of coffee packets in 1 minute.
Right.
But you cannot sell like millions of.
And it's not uncommon for therapists to do 20, 25 sessions a week. So 20 to 25 hours.
Yes.
And because much more than that, some people do more.
Yes.
The emotional, mental drain is too much.
Yes, I was going to ask that. I'm glad you brought it up. I was going to ask you about it because you're listening to people's not good stuff. They're not coming,
especially at the beginning of therapy.
Okay, so because after that they were like sharing the good one because you helped them out to bring that good, right?
Right.
But in the beginning you were hearing like all this sad and negative side. And how did you cope with it?
So I've been doing that for a long time now. So I have some things that work for me. One is limiting how much I do, right? Because there is a part of me that wants to if I see this many clients, I get paid this. If I see this many more, but it takes away from the quality. and there is more of a emotional, mental and physical, right? Sitting,
Yes.
just sitting, right?
Yes.
So those things have to be taken into consideration. There are some other things, like I see my own therapist. I actually go.
I was going to ask that question as well.
Yeah, so I actually go to a therapist once a week
Oh,
right now.
okay.
Yeah. And I can, and it works in my schedule,
Yes.
and it's great.
Okay,
Right?
perfect.
And I don't mention it to my clients a ton, but
Yes.
anytime it comes up, right? I was on I was finishing up a session today with a gentleman, and he was like, "Oh, can we meet? Next time at this time on Monday." I was like, "Oh no, I can't because that's when I see my therapist."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool!"
Definitely. Okay, that was my next question.
So I see my own therapist. I do a combination of in-person sessions and virtual. When I'm doing virtual, I can, work out in between sessions. I can take care of the baby. I can, go run an errand. So that kind of helps separate things. And there's all types of other little tricks and things I do. But another one is I purposely didn't do another business that's like therapy, right? I have some friends that they're therapists, and what they'll do for a side business is they'll do therapist trainings. And I'm like, I don't want to do a therapist training. Like, that just feels like more, more of the same. I need to stretch other parts of my personality, other parts of my brain, other skill sets.
Okay.
So the coffee and some of the other things I have going on actually help me in some ways like be a more balanced person, which makes me a better therapist.
Yeah. So actually, how are you balancing out with the engaging in coffee business and also your counseling sessions, like counseling business? So is it like, like your wife also helping out, I guess, with the coffee, right? So how those two, like you balance your time with your daughter, with your wife, family, and then your counseling and your clients and the coffee, and when you have a business and products and there are customer service or anything to, you have things to deal with, the government, IRS, so many things, right? Taxes and all that. So tell us about that, like how you balance them out. How did you like kind of automation tools or anything that how you're balancing everything out?
So, let me see. So I'll be honest, I'm still figuring out the balance, right? Because the coffee business is young, so I've had to put more effort than I want to long term, right?
Yeah.
So some ways I balance it is there's a lot of overlap between my counseling and my coffee. Reason being is the brand, the mission for the coffee is aligned with recovery, like addiction, substance abuse recovery, and mental health recovery. So when I'm networking, I can go to a networking event and maybe I'm getting in the door because of the coffee, but then I can bring up the counseling, or vice versa. So that helps with some of the time, right?
Yeah.
And then because I have started learning, certain programs or systems, like there's because I've learned them with the counseling business, it makes it easier to learn it with the coffee. So like QuickBooks, right?
Yes.
So I didn't know anything about QuickBooks. I never touched it in my life. But I learned it with the counseling, and it makes it that much easier to set up another QuickBook account for the recovery beans. Same thing with WordPress, right? I didn't know anything about doing a website, and my counseling website is on WordPress with Elementor. So it's kind of drag and drop and pretty easy to do, and I can go in there, and I have a website guy, but I do a lot of it myself because I'm particular.
Yes. Picky.
I'm very picky. And then my recovery beans is on WordPress, but it's not on anything. It's just straight up WordPress. So it's a little bit more complicated to do, less intuitive, but like I can get in there and do mostly what I need to without asking somebody. Some of the
You learn a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, you are kind of reducing the cost of the maintenance and expenses.
Right.
And even the WordPress, like, you need to maintain the site, you need to update, you need to keep backup, you need to make sure security is up to date and all the plugins are up to date, themes are up to date.
Right.
You do those by yourself. You can, once you learn it, you spend like few hours, throughout for a month,
Right.
and you get it done. Perfect. Good. John, it's a good way to know. I mean, it is really important to know more.
Right.
More you know is the better. More, it's much better than knowing nothing.
Right.
And even like when you want to have a team behind you, you know what to expect from the team too.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's something I haven't like ventured out to too much because it just hasn't happened yet, right? Like,
you mean the team? Or?
Team.
Okay.
Yeah, because the counseling I am by myself, and I don't really have any plans to start a group practice. And there's a number of reasons behind that, but right now I don't think that's what I'm gonna do. And then with the coffee, I work more with my wife, and then we've had like other people that we've hired, more like contract type people. So we've had, but not like a team like you have, like where you've developed, that you groomed, employ, and all those sorts of things.
There are two things about teams, right? Right now, with the technology and automation tools are more high. Like with that, you don't need a bigger team anymore. With AI and everything, you need a few people who are talented enough to handle these automation tools, and you need to be creative, right? So that is a good thing about nowadays. And if you start a business, have few people but have used more automation tool. But I mean, I'm not a big fan of AI creativity yet.
Right.
It's just like I feel like it's getting too saturated because everybody just make a prompt and make a video and put it out there. It's like kind of a not really pleasant for me. But that's my personal point of view so far, right? But I like, when we have a human touch behind it and have those tools moderately used.
Right.
I'm not saying not to use it. We can use it. I definitely use it.
Well, I think if you're not using AI right now, you're falling behind.
Exactly.
Like you at least understand how to do it, use it, where it works for you.
Exactly. And nowadays, a writing tool, perfect secretary for me, the AI. And you need to know, you have to have the good thing is that you don't need a lot of people to work with. You have a smaller team, but they can do much better, bigger tasks, a lot of work with this AI and automation tool.
Right.
So that's what, as a business person, you should see how you can scale up your business. Sometimes, there are something that I understood in my life in the beginning when I started business by myself. It took longer, and that kind of not having a good team behind me, and then doing everything, wearing every hat, it kind of slows me down in terms of scaling.
Right.
So, and it will keep me as a kind of a freelancer mode, right? But limited. But when I come to the team mode, I have a good team behind me, and still I'm building my team. Still, there are things that I need to add, right? And I'm using, AI and automated tool, automation and all that. And that helped me now to, kind of treat more than one client at the same time.
Right.
I have a project manager for each client, and they are working with them and have a team, and customer care, everything became much easier.
Right.
And I'm gonna employ, do the same method with Rusty as well, tea product, and then having that marketing team behind it, and then how much I can sell.
Right.
So that will tell me sometimes we are wasting our time and money when we think about in the beginning, if it hits my wallet a lot, I'm like, I'm trying to save money, but long term, I'm losing money.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking about building a team and sales, and stuff like that. So in your case, and you also, and I mean, you have a team as well. Your wife,
Right.
It's a team.
And she's going to be a full-time employee now.
Yeah, exactly. So once you learn all this automation, and even the content creation and all that.
And you bring up a point too that about utilizing AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for recovery beans, sometimes I'll do a post,
Yeah.
and sometimes she'll do a post,
Yeah.
and even though we utilize different types of AI for images or text or a combination of things, they come out different. Because it's, she's putting the touches and the things that she resonate with her. Same brand message, same brand voice.
Yes.
But they come out a little different, and they speak to just a little different part of our audience.
Yes.
And then when I come up with something, like it's just typically something she wouldn't do, and vice versa. So it is nice to kind of have that. And we run ideas, even though she's not part of my counseling, business.
Yes.
I should have her on as a paid employee, because I ask her questions all the time. Hey, read this. How does this sound? Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Should I do this? And often she's either the brakes or the gas, because I come up with a lot of ideas.
Yes.
Maybe not as many as you.
Yeah. Oh, me, I'm crazy. Yeah, I know, I understand.
But, sometimes if she's like, hey, whoa, think, what about this? What about that? It'll give me a chance to do I really want to commit to this?
Yes.
Do I really want to do whatever this idea is? But also it's a confirmation if she's like, oh yeah, that's great. Let's go full speed ahead,
Yes.
And I've had many times where I'm like, oh, this is going to be a great idea. And I get a little further down the road, or I even get to completion and it doesn't hit.
Yeah, okay.
It was the wrong call.
I think it is when it comes to marketing or in content creation, and nowadays the content creation needs to get more impressions and more views on social media. It is a psychological game.
Right.
It's a psychology, right? Marketing is a psychological thing.
Right.
And how, kind of underneath that motivate people to get your product and tell you, right? So, and then sometimes you cannot exactly predict how many people and what kind of psychology they have, but you collect data, and at the same time you can do prediction with data. So in the beginning, in order to collect some information, you need to try out things. So that's why you have, even in Facebook marketing, you have different ad copies at the same ad campaign.
Right.
And you have A/B testing. You're testing out. So it's not a problem. So it's good.
Right.
So you have to do, and don't think even anybody who start a business and you make a post and don't think it's going to go to 1,000 people right away and then you're selling thousands of products. No, it's not. Sometimes you might have to get 10,000 to sell one product. It depends,
Right. And that's, it's part of the fun, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not just in it for money, right? I'm in it for the experience, for the learning, for the story, for the it is it's something that I enjoy, regardless of what business or what the idea. It's I find it it's stimulating, it's exciting, and when it works well, it's great, and when it doesn't, that's fine too.
That's fine completely. Yeah, definitely. And always, okay, now, what is your advice for people who want to start business?
Start it, and there's part of me that wants to say run in, but also don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Make sure that it's sustainable and that you can see it through. In fact, I would suggest if you're going to start a business, do it so that you could set up the expense, all that stuff, so that you could sustain it for a year or more without any income. And not affect your family, affect your rent, affect your food. That this is, and this is just from a small business, like, kind of standpoint is like, just let it be something that is sustainable for a while, that you're not going to pull out, because most likely things aren't going to go that great the first year or two.
Yes.
And if you throw all this money and all these resources and blood, sweat, and tears, and it is not getting money at month 2, 3, or 4, and you have to end it, like, that seems premature and doesn't give you enough time to play and learn.
Yes.
And then when I say play, I mean play and have fun.
Yeah. I mean, no, definitely. And then so you're saying that take your time, do not expect too much, but do it.
But do it.
Yeah. Definitely, I would recommend the same thing. Don't. Some people, I'm planning to do one. I'm planning to do one when I have this, when I have that. I'm like, are you really sure you want to wait that long until when that happens? You're just like, I don't think you're really serious.
Right.
Because that's why you're saying when this and when that. When I have $1 million, I'll start this business. I'm like, no. You know what I did? I did not wait. I didn't even have $1 to start my business. Only one thing it took to me to start one business is to talk to a stranger, right, and convince him to buy my service. Only that one talk that day at a Joyce New York ignited. My first client, first sales, right away, boom, done. That's when I started my business.
And I think there's something like inherently like human about like doing a business deal. Like there's like all the legal stuff and contracts and all that. But like I've done some business deals with no contract, it's just like person to person, like we're making an agreement. And
verbal agreement mostly.
Verbal agreement. And, and I mean, these are small things, like you need to protect yourself and all that, and always, be legal, but it doesn't have to be so complex. If you're not a multi-million-dollar business, then it doesn't have to be crazy complex.
Yes. And actually, to be honest, like when in the beginning, I did my, policies and agreement, everything. Even sometimes I didn't do those agreements, but later I decided regardless, I'm going to do it, even with my mom.
Right.
Recently, sometimes there are things that, specifically service industry, like my service industry, there are things that they can like get more work than what we get paid.
Right.
Then we have to specify this is what we're going to do.
And with a service agreement now, I mean, you can get so much help online, ChatGPT, all that stuff. Like,
exactly.
I mean, I had to write some type of agreement for doing sales recently, and ChatGPT was helped, and I had some people look over it, and all right, good.
Actually, there's another good tool that you can use called Rocket Lawyer. I spent about $20 a month, and I was able to get good. And once I got all those things, and I use as a format, after that, I didn't need them to send that paper to other person. I can send it via myself, but now I have a format. I have a good, with a good, credible organization.
Right.
So that's what I did in the beginning, actually. But now I do use ChatGPT as well, because there are things that I had to change as we do.
Right.
Like recently, we had the client, and then they gave us their branded kit, and then we are doing it as following those colors, and we did. I'm like, all of a sudden they decided to change the colors. They change entire brand kit, and then now they're like, sorry, we did just changes. I'm like, my team like, are you nuts? I'm like, and then they said like, we need a policy for this. I'm like, yes, boom, I did it right away.
Right, and you wouldn't expect that until it happens.
And it happens.
Right.
So now, if anybody change after we are done the work, right, we consider that as another redesign.
Right.
And now that has to be paid.
Right.
That has to pay. They have to pay first for that changes. Right. So I'm sorry, it takes time.
And networking, like a lot of the networking I do with like therapists and stuff is to get my brand out there, to get conscious path counseling out there, but it's also to make friends so that we can share about like what works and what doesn't. A lot of people, I found when I'm like open and honest about like, hey, this is what I do, this is what's worked for me, this is what it's done. Other people share the same thing, and I learn more. Right?
Yes,
there are some people that everything is trade secret, and they're not going to share, and that's fine. But the vast majority of people that I've talked to in the counseling, arena and the coffee arena will spill the beans. They'll share because, it's great to share experience.
I do share my experience definitely with anybody who started. Even I remember in the beginning, and when one of my friends started the same thing I was going to do, and I even help him to learn those things, right? And I never hold anything back. But there are things that if, let's say, I'm coming with a new technology, I'm a technical.
Well, that's different. Yeah.
That is what I don't give up. Give it to other people. Right. And one time I remember, like one of the ideas that I just talked about with somebody that is stranger. Few weeks later, I began to say it. I'm like, dude, do not.
That's different. But like, there are certain things. Yeah, okay, we like that's it's active and you're building it. Like, all right, fine. Yes. But just I found that just like when I talked about like. Part of the way I got sober was hanging out with people that were doing the thing that I wanted to be able to do. Same thing with business.
Yes.
Is there are so many people that are more than willing to lend a hand, share, listen, all those things.
It makes sense, completely makes sense.
And that's what we're doing.
Yeah, and it's that right now, but that's what we're doing. Right. That's why I even started this podcast, because I get a chance to learn other people's stories and experience, and then we are sharing it with the world. That's why you should watch this podcast and then listen to it. You don't have to watch it all the time. You can just listen to it while you're driving.
Most podcasts, like I play them on YouTube, but I listen to them.
That's what I do too. I have nothing to watch much, but listen to it. And so anyway, so that was good, and we started and make sure you are with people who would do the same, who are doing the same thing, right? Like who getting. I think let's say who are making progress in business, not some people who give up on things. And I have met people like, it's not going to work like that. It's not work for everybody. I'm like, I'm not that everybody who's not going to work. Right? Who knows? I would be one of those person who might make it to the top level in business, right? So never get discouraged by other people's work. That's the one.
Every business like venture I've done, people have said in some way or another that won't work. Whether it's counseling and it's really hard to go out on your own. Like, are you sure you want to do that? Yeah. Like, I had that. I had people when we were talking about starting the coffee company, look at me like I was talking a foreign language and just couldn't get it. Some of the other things I have brewing, people like, what? Why? And that's okay. And maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but it's fun to try, and it's enjoyment.
I think if you are starting a business, be ready to change and never give up. Continuously learn and adapt. Right. Adaptation is one of the big things in business. You have to just change the current environment. Right. And you cannot say, no, this is it, this is it. No, you have to change your product and you have to make it better for the people's demand. Right. And then you can, if you don't give up on it, and you can do it. Right. You're going to make it happen, right?
Absolutely.
Because business, all these things, just because you started, some people think it is going to become overnight thing. Oh, he's a businessman, he's rich. Yeah, we might have a team, we might have a CEO for title, but does that mean it doesn't mean you're going to be rich? It doesn't mean you're going to be poor. It means you're for me, it means you're doing something that can change your life and many people's life. You know what I mean? Like your coffee business, your business growing, and it's going to help other people to get more jobs.
Right.
It's creating more opportunities, right? And the same thing.
Win-win.
Exactly. Everybody is not going to do business, and everybody is not going to become just an employee, right? You didn't want to be an employee forever, did you?
I didn't realize it, but no.
See, it changed, right? So your advice is like, never give up and do it, and you start it, right?
Right.
And I think some people come to do business without any plans, and then they rely on other people.
Right.
That's other thing that I had, I faced with, and I'm like, now I cannot like just turn them all, like say no to them, and they're not having any plan. Then I have to give all the, okay, follow this, do that, and I'm glad to do that, but they take a lot of time. I need to see their effort as well, and then if they see that I'm doing everything for them, even free, like just helping them out, right? And then they just like, oh, they're taking advantage of me. Like, no, I'm going to put the price to this.
Right.
So anymore, I don't do anything like that, but I do help people out. And my company is to build to help people out. But we do certain dedication, sacrifices, thinking that other people will work hard and bring that up, and that will help us as well. So it is a kind of a cost like investment. Right. I see everything as an investment. Right. Even talking to a person, right, what I see is an investment for my life, for my company, and for everything. Right, everything, just an investment. So, and you, in as like you're investing money and time and everything into a business, which was your hobby, and your coffee, and also you're doing counseling, and then so you're going to continue both big companies, both businesses, and having your wife as a teammate as well. And then counseling wise, are you planning to expand your counseling business with more community counselors, like you're going to hire counselors? Do you have any future vision for it?
So I'm not going to do that right now. There are with counseling, there's a lot of liability, because if somebody that you employ does something unethical or illegal, you are responsible for that.
I see.
So there's that part. What I am actually looking at now, though, is finding different avenues for me to work as a therapist. So I mentioned to you, I recently kind of got into doing emotional support, animal letters, and evaluations, right?
Yes,
so, and that's another service that I'm going to be offering in Florida. So I'm going to be building a website and doing marketing for that, but that'll still be under my conscious.
But you're going to have a different website for it? Okay.
Yeah. And then eventually, we're likely going to move to Colorado. So I will still keep seeing clients in Florida, but also see clients in Colorado.
So you're going to branch out from Colorado.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So, and in many ways, like, the counseling business, like I said, kind of takes care of itself because I can only scale so much, right?
Yes.
But that allows me a very consistent, stable business platform to branch out and try other little things and see. And a part of my business model with all my companies is where I don't do a lot of like high expense type stuff as far as like buildings and offices, and so I sublease a office once a week right now for my counseling, so I don't have a big lease.
Yes.
I with the coffee company, because we had to not be able to roast in our garage, or at home.
Yes.
but because I wanted to sell nationally, but I also didn't want to buy a $30,000 coffee roaster and have the facility and,
electricity, everything.
I made an agreement with an established roaster that has all that equipment. So
that's good, smart move.
Yeah, so that's part of my business models is now you may lose some profit margins.
Yes.
But I keep saying over and over again, I want it to be fun. I want it to be playful. And if I have too high of financial exposure, I get anxious.
Yes.
I get worried. And so part of it to keep it exciting and fun for me is and flexible, right? Is to do things. So I'm kind of looking at some other avenues with that in mind, right? And because of the internet and e-commerce and all the opportunities there, I don't necessarily have to have a location if I don't want to. I don't have a personal dream to own a coffee shop. I don't want a coffee shop. It's not part of my dream.
Okay, then I'm going to have it. And then
you but that's not part of my, I don't want to be necessarily tied down where I have to go somewhere every single day.
Oh, that's you were talking about place.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I want flexibility. I want a little bit. So I have things that I'm working on, but we'll see where it all goes.
Definitely. We are excited to see, and then maybe another year too.
Right.
And we will have a multi-million-dollar coffee business owner here, and maybe your wife as well.
Right.
And then little soy.
Right.
And have another, podcast.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the plan. And so, anything else that we are missing? I think we're talking about both of your business.
Yeah, yep. And I have some other stuff in the works that I want to talk about yet, but
businesses,
business ideas. Yeah. So little things I'm working. But I have to pace myself, and I have to make sure that the things that I'm working on now get the attention they need and to be able to thrive before I throw more irons in the fire, so to speak. So. It's a blast. So
I'm glad, and that's a very fascinating story from your childhood, and then getting into addictions and that kind of life, and totally distracted, and then that was about over 10 years of that life, right?
Yeah, about 10 years. Yeah, a little bit more.
Lower than 10 years. Yeah, from 14 to 28, and then you change your life around again, and you have some disabilities, and still you ended up having a bachelor degree, 2 bachelors,
but nothing from HCC.
Nothing. But you spent 6 years though. I mean, that must be like one of the another bachelor just finishing 6 years.
Well, I was there 6 years. I didn't finish much.
Okay. So I was in HEC only 2 years. I got about more than I finished my associate in engineering and at HEC, and then moved to USF and finished my 4-year college at USF.
Yeah, I left HCC because in Florida you can only take the same class 3 times.
Oh, okay, yes.
And I got to a place where I couldn't get an associate.
You weren't qualified anymore.
And my SAT scores were high enough where I could just transfer over anyway.
Okay. So you transferred to USF. Perfect. Then you finished that education, and then you worked as a mental therapist, and now sober for little over 16 years. And you have 2 businesses, counseling business, and yourself, employed in your own business. And you have a coffee business, and planning on doing more stuff. As I remember, you have selling drawings and pictures and stuff, and now there's not the same thing, but similar to dogs, disability people, medical certificate.
So the ESA, emotional support
animals things, and many more to come. And that's interesting. And you have a wife, lovely wife, and you have a daughter, and you have a family.
Right. Right.
Now you're moving forward. Very, very exciting, a interesting story. I think that should help a lot of people, and to get motivated and to get going and change your life around. So, any last advice? Last word?
Start a business.
Start
Do
a
it.
business. Do it.
Make it sustainable and have fun. Like that's the enjoy.
Yeah, definitely. And if you need help, just call us.
Yeah,
Come
there you
to us.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even Alex too. Like, call me
Yeah.
at Make It Viral Media and Technology. We provide all the technical and web design and services and free consultations most of the time, actually. And ended up being free.
And I do like life coaching for people that are like just struggling with like the kind of the old ideas around like I can't start a business, I can't do this,
See, I think we have a good combination.
Yep.
I think we both should take over Tampa and Florida.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we got this.
we are coming. We are making it happen. Slowly. We're making it happen. So we will come to help you guys out, and we are here in Tampa Bay area, and then growing companies. Actually, I think even New Coffee, and also I have Make It Viral Media and Technology plus another e-commerce Rusty, and planning to bring more products to this country. Good quality ones, not Chinese cheap ones. Okay, so premium products. I'm kind of a little premium products all the way from Sri Lanka.
Nice.
Yes, and yeah. So we are about business. We like to do business, and we like to get to know people who does business. So if you are a business owner and even thinking about starting a business, reach out to us, connect with us, and also if you want to share your story, come share your story with us. I think even one person who listen to this will change their life.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much, Alex,
Thank you.
coming and taking your time to share your story, and also thank you guys listening to this. And I hope this will help you guys to change your life around. And it's always possible to make your life better. Never say it's not gonna happen. Always be positive, and you can change your life around. That is 100,
That's the message.
1,000%.
That's the
Yes,
message.
that's the message. 1,000% true, possible to do. It is very possible. So anyway, thank you very much. We will see you next episode, and with founders story, Rise and Thrive by Make It Viral Media and Technology. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.